Last year, Lisa and I got a new product into our fish room that we were super excited about. So excited, in fact, that we brought it in to carry on our website. And since then, we've sold over 300 of these. What am I talking about? The AC series from Fluval. You can't necessarily call it new anymore because it's been out for almost a year. But the question is, are we as excited about this as we were back then? We'll stay tuned to find out. I did a video about this filter right after its release, after using it for about a month, and that video covered a whole lot of what's going on with this filter. But in the almost 1 year since that came out, I've learned some new things about this filter that might help you to increase the performance of your Aquaclear, or if you're on the fence as to whether or not you want to buy this, it may help you to make that decision. So I want to go over those things today, and at the end of the video, I will give you my honest opinion about this filter. But the first thing that we have to talk about today is this little fella right here. Now, if this is all brand new to you and you're not familiar with what this is an intake sponge. So if we pretend that this is hooked on to our filter, this intake sponge goes right on, well, the intake of your filter. And what this does is picks up debris and things like that before it goes back to your filter. This is great because it helps your media that's in the filter from getting clogged up really, really fast. Makes it easier on the pump. Everything flows better. It's great. It is an amazing addition to any hang on the back filter. And if you want my honest opinion, this is something that should be included with every hang on the back filter on the market. But there is a couple of things that I've learned about this that are going to help you dramatically, because even though this is a valuable asset to the fish keeper, it's something that can also completely ruin this filter or any filter that it's on. So you got to be careful. How can this little sponge here ruin your filter? These filters are not cheap, and you don't want them ruined by something like this. How's it going to do that? Well, it's very simple. This is going to pick up everything before it goes back to the filter. And because of that, it can easily clog up very, very fast. I have one of these filters on my 20-gallon heavily planted aquarium. There's a ton of duckweed in there. There's hair algae. There's all the things that happen in a planted aquarium. And this thing gets clogged up super fast. And what happens is you can see the flow coming out of the filter is impacted dramatically. I've had it to the point where I've let it go a little bit, and then the water, it's just barely trickling out of the filter, which means this is stopping water from going back to the pump in the filter. And if that happens, if it gets dry, if this isn't letting any water through because it's done its job and picked up all of that debris, the pump runs dry, it's going to end up burning that pump out. So the biggest suggestion with this fine little piece of material right here, clean it regularly. And when I say regularly, that's going to completely depend on your situation. With mine on my 20-gallon, this really needs to be cleaned out every few days, because if I don't, it's going to start to get clogged up. The filter's not going to perform as good. This filter runs full strength when this is completely cleaned out. But if it's not, if this starts to get blocked up, then the filter starts to lose its effectiveness. It loses its efficiency, and then this thing actually becomes a detriment to the filter. So the cool thing, though, about maintaining this, you just pull it off, run it under the sink. You don't have to worry about the impact to the beneficial bacteria and all that kind of stuff. Don't worry about that. There's enough of that in the filter. Leave that alone. Pull this off, rinse it out in the sink, which happens to be right next to the tank for me, so it's very convenient. But rinse it out really good. Make sure there's no brown coming out of it anymore. Put it back onto the filter. It's going to run at its peak performance, and it's going to do extremely well. This is a valuable asset to your filter, but it can also be a detriment if you're not cleaning it out. So you've been warned. There's another thing about this filter that I absolutely love, and I'm not sure if I covered it in the first video or not, and that is how easy it is to maintain this pump. So here's the scenario. This is very, very common. I get an email from a customer that'll say, hey, we bought this Aquaclear about 4 months ago, or one of the other hang on the backs that we carry, and it's making a noise. It's making kind of a grinding sound, and it's really bothering me. It's keeping me up at night. I think this filter is going to blow up. What do I need to do? Well, in almost 100% of those situations, it's something that's caught in the impeller of the pump. And so all you got to do is get access to that impeller, take it out, clean out the little chamber that it's in, and then put it back together. You're good to go. You're up and running again, and it's back to being absolutely silent. How do you do that with this filter? Well, it's very, very simple. If you're hearing a grinding sound or it's not performing really well, might just need a little bit of a boost or something like that, and you want to maintain your impeller, or maybe you're just somebody that's a stickler and you want to do this regularly to make sure that your impeller is running at its peak performance, it's very simple to access that on here. But I do have to warn you, this is something that you have to do when this filter is empty, because if you don't, water's going to go everywhere. You don't say I didn't tell you. So how you do it, you simply grab this pump right here, give it a little twist, and I mean, come on, look how easy that is. It pulls right off. Now there's a huge O-ring on here, so with it coming off that easy, you might think, well, that's just going to fall off and it's going to cause a leak. No, it's not. This thing is in there, absolutely rock solid, and that O-ring makes sure that everything's sealed off, so you're not going to have an issue. But this chamber right here is always going to be full of water in your filter. So if you do that while this is still full, all of that water is going to go out. Don't do that. Unplug the filter, remove it, dump the water out, and then you can access this. But once you pull this off, there's your impeller right there. Now, you might not be sure what an impeller is. This spins. This is like a little fan, and I feel like I need to grab my knife in order to get it out. It's not the easiest thing in the world to get out because it's so small and it's such tight quarters. But this little fan in here has a magnet on it. There's an opposing magnet inside here. When electricity is put to it, that's what makes it spin. This thing spins like crazy, and that's what creates that draw of water through it. So you can imagine if this is dirty, if there's some debris in here, a piece of food, a piece of substrate, something like that, when that's spinning, it's going to rub up against that piece of debris and it's going to make one heck of a sound. So all you got to do is remove this. And if you have long enough fingernails or your fingers are small enough, you can do it without a knife. Take this out, rinse it out real good, rinse out the inside of this chamber because it could be something caught down in there. Put it back together again. You don't need a tool or anything. It just drops right back into place. You walk back up, put it back on, you're back up and running. Super easy. I love that. And I got to be honest with you, we've sold between the Aquaclear and the Tidal filter almost 3,000 of the two combined. And 90% of the time, when there's an issue with either of these filters, that's the issue. It's something caught in the impeller. If you free it up, you're all good and everything's quiet again and everybody's happy. So now you know that it's super easy to access this on the Aquaclears. It's really easy on the Tidal too, but we're not talking about that filter today. We're talking about this one. This is a home run for the Fluvals. Now, the next thing that I want to talk about is absolute engineering genius by Fluval with this filter. I know for a fact I did not talk about this in the previous video, and that is the path that the water goes to be filtered by this filter. And what I mean by that, I'm going to put a little thing from the Fluval website up on the screen to demonstrate this a little bit better. But the water comes in through the pump here, and it travels down. It's hard to see on camera, but it travels down this little chamber underneath the media and then up through the media. There is, on this basket, there's holes on the bottom. That's where the water comes up through those holes. It gets filtered through the media, the sponge, the zeocarb, the carbon, whatever it is that you have in there, and then it's sent back out to the aquarium. That's how this works. It's as simple as that. But one of the things that happens with a lot of hang on the back filters, and it is a big complaint for a lot of people, is bypass. And what that means is the water doesn't go through everything. It just overflows and never makes it through the media. Well, the first thing I'll say about that is clean the media and you won't have that issue. But if you're hard-headed and you're convinced that it's an issue with the filter, the cool thing about this particular filter is that it has these holes that are also in the side of this cartridge. And what that does is it sends water back into this chamber here. Rather than bypassing, it goes back into here and recirculates through the system. So if for some reason your media is clogged up or something like that, if it's clogged up, it's never really going to do its job. But rather than bypass around the media, the water's going to go back into this chamber and get recirculated. That's a beautiful thing. I wish everybody did that with their filters. I absolutely love it. It's hard to make out, but there's a little slot down in here. Oh, it's so hard to get on camera. It's on this side. I don't know if you can see it. You can kind of see it. There's a little slot right there, and that's where the water goes back down to be processed through the whole flow of the whole filter and all that. Goes through there, comes back down to the bottom, and then rises up through the media. I love that about it. Rather than bypassing or rolling over the media, or absolute worst case scenario, dumping over the sides of the filter, it has to be awfully clogged in order to do that. But rather than do that, it just recirculates back through the filter. I love that. Probably the most genius thing about this filter, but it just has to be said. If you're ever having any issues with that kind of stuff, your media is probably too densely packed, or it's just clogged up and you just need to get in there and squeeze it out and free it up and get all of that debris out of the sponge. Then it's going to run like it should be, and you're not going to have to be concerned about this. But maybe you let it go like I tend to do sometimes. You're not going to have to worry about any bypass. It's just going to go right back there and circulate through, and then just keep going in that cycle because the media is too clogged for it to go through it. But hey, keep your filters clean, folks. You won't have to worry about this. Another common question that I get on every filter that we carry is, what size filter do I need? On the AC series, it is so simple. You don't even have to think about it. The number that's on the filter is representing the largest aquarium that this can handle. So this is made for up to a 30-gallon aquarium. The AC 50 is for up to 50 gallons. 70, 110, you get it. That's all you need to know. Now, I always recommend to people, go one step up from what you need. If you have a 20-gallon, the AC 20 is going to work perfectly fine, but do yourself a favor, ramp it up a little bit, get that AC 30, and if it's too much flow, just turn it down a little bit. It's not that big of a deal. If you have a 75-gallon, get the 110, and so on and so on. One step up is not going to cost you a fortune. It's just a few dollars more. And again, it's better to have more than enough than not enough. So that's what I always suggest to people. But figuring out what size you need, it's really the easiest thing ever. The other really cool thing about the AC series is the different types of media that they have available. And believe me, as a retailer, it is quite overwhelming because there's like 6 different types of media available for all the different size filters. So it can be a lot. Plus there's single packs and 3 packs. It can be a lot. It takes up a lot of space on our shelves, but that's okay. We like to have it available to you. You have so many options like ammonia remover, zeocarb, carbon, the sponges, all of them. You have all of it, all the different media. There's so much available. So you don't have to DIY things if you don't want to. You can just buy it direct from us or any retailer, whoever your preferred retailer is, and it's right there. You just put it in your tank and it's ready to go. I'm not going to go through all of the options that are available because that would take all day. This video would be 3 hours long. But what I can tell you is, if you're watching this on our website, if you just go to Fluval Aquaclear on our website, you're going to see all that different media pop up and read through the descriptions of those. They all do different things. Some of them are obvious, like ammonia remover. Well, it removes ammonia. That's it's in the name. It's not that hard to figure out, but there's all different kinds of things. And we do sell the little extra sponges. So if you're somebody that doesn't like cleaning these out every few days, buy a few of them. They're literally like $2 a piece. Buy a few of them and just swap them out and then clean them as you go. Makes things easier. Fluval has all of the media available, and it's great. Now, what it comes with in the box, every single one of the AC series comes with a bag of the Biomax, which is appropriately sized for the filter. This is a bio media. It helps with the promotion of beneficial bacteria growth. It's a very porous material that's in here that's almost like a sponge, that it just gives so much surface area for the growth of beneficial bacteria. I love this. When I set up an Aquaclear, I just use this, and I use the carbon that also comes with it. I've been in this hobby for a very long time, and when I started in fish keeping, if you didn't use carbon, you were doing this wrong. It just works so many miracles in an aquarium, and the nice thing is they're automatically including a nice big bag of that with these filters. So it comes ready to go with everything that you'll need to run a really efficient filter. But if you like to experiment, if you like the different types of things, it's all available. The other thing that's available that I do not have to show you yet is the skimmer that's available for this filter. It is an extra attachment. We will have it on the website eventually. It might even be up there by the time you watch this video, but it's an attachment that goes on to the intake tube of this, which means it will attach here, and it's a skimmer. It keeps that top of your aquarium from getting that film built up on it and stuff like that. It's a really nice addition. A lot of people love skimmers on their hang on the back filters. A lot of people hate them. That's going to be completely up to you. And this is why they made it an option rather than something that's included in the filter, like the Seachem Tidal, which I particularly like. That, that's never bothered me that it has a skimmer on it, but it bothers a lot of people. I've never understood why, but it does. With the Aquaclear, they made it an option, but it's not with every single filter. So I guess they heard those complaints and they said, well, we're not doing that. Now, my personal review of this filter, it's a rock star. It is. That's why we have it on the website. I absolutely love it. This is the filter that I have on my 20-gallon. Well, not this one. This one's brand new, but you know what I mean. The AC30 is what I have on my 20-gallon aquarium. It does a fantastic job as long as I clean out that intake sponge, or just take the intake sponge off to begin with, then I wouldn't have that issue. But I do have a lot of shrimp in there. I have a lot of snails in there. They breed like crazy. So that's why I like to keep the intake sponge on there so that they don't get sucked up into the filter. As long as the intake sponge is clean, this thing runs like an absolute powerhouse. It is fantastic. And the nice thing about the intake sponge is it's easy to know if it's clogged, because you just walk by your aquarium, and if you see that the water is not flowing out of your filter as strong as it usually does, well, this thing's clogged up and you have to clean it. So it's not something that bothers me, but like I said in the beginning, you do need to be warned that it's not going to be as efficient if you don't clean this out. And again, that applies to every single filter on the market. You put a pre-filter on there, you're going to be hampering its performance if you don't clean it out. Now, when I say I love this filter, it's not just me that loves it. My wife, Lisa, also loves it. In fact, she set up a 55-gallon aquarium, which is right over there off screen. She set it up to raise some African cichlid fry. And when she set that up, she put an AC70 on that tank. She loves this filter. She also has another tank that she's going to be setting up. It's a 125. She's setting that up. I can't say what she's setting it up for, but it's going to be really nice. She needs a lot of filtration on that tank. She's going to use 2 AC 110s. Why? Because that's the choice that she made. She loves this filter so much. It is now her favorite hang on the back filter on the market. So there you go. You get the seal of approval from me, but more importantly, you get the seal of approval from my wife. Her opinion's more important anyway. So there you go, the AC series long-term review. I love this filter, and I mean that. I'm not being a salesman. It is an amazing filter. We have sold so many of these, it would make your head spin. And you know what? We're going to keep selling them because it's a great filter. If you're on the website right now, if you're on the fence about whether or not to get one, I'd love to know if you made your decision based on this video, or if you made your decision not to buy it. I'd love to know that too. You can put that down in the comments of this video on YouTube. Can't do that on the website, but I'd love to get your feedback. I understand that we don't all agree. Some people are not going to agree with me on this filter, but I personally think it is an absolute powerhouse. It's worth every single penny. If you're on the website right now to order one, you are not making a bad decision. That's it. Thanks. Bye.